Why don't I go ahead and call to order the July 17 regular board meeting of the St. Joseph County Public Library, which we are a virtual meeting with the aid of Zoom. And first, I wanted to go ahead and determine a quorum for purposes of the way we've been doing this the last several months. I think we'll reverse it again this month. I think it's time to go reverse chronological order by last name. So when you identify that you're here, please just confirm that you did receive the board packet and open it. So Anne, we'll start with you.
Here, and I received the packet.
Great. Terry?
Yes and yes.
Christine? You can give us a thumbs up, Christine. We see you. So we'll put 2 thumbs up, so that's good. Augie?
Here, and I did receive the packet.
Okay. Michelle?
Yes and yes.
Okay. Marvin?
Yes and yes.
And I also am here, and I did receive the packet. And Michelle, or Christine, before we go on, you want to just try and make sure you can...
Am I still muted? I think I turned it off.
Okay, that's fine.
Can you hear me?
I did hear you, and I did see you gave us 2 thumbs up that you were on the call and that you did receive your package.
Yes.
So I'd like to just, for purposes of, again, the tape, I'll just indicate that there is a quorum present and we are ready to conduct business. The first order of business is the consideration of the approval of the library board minutes of the meeting that we held on Monday, June 22nd. Those minutes were included in our board packet. So is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 22nd?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any additions, corrections, or discussion? If not, I'll call the roll. Anne?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Minutes are approved. Next order of business is our director's report, and I'll turn it over to Deb.
Thank you. In the statistics, we opened to the public for browsing on June 16th. So what you're seeing is a combination of our curbside services from the early part of June, then coupled with physical visits from mid-June on. And we are continuing curbside pickup as we go. The checkouts were divided nearly equally between physical items and digital items. And at the same time, physical checkouts actually were just about half of what they were last year. So overall, we had a 31.7 decrease in circulation, which, considering the circumstances and the year we're having and main library closed, I don't think is that bad. One of the upsides of living through a pandemic is that people have rediscovered reading. And our hold shelves are more full than I can remember seeing in years. So people are placing holds, people are picking up, people are coming in and grabbing stuff. We are still catching up on the 3-month backlog of new material that happened when we closed, but our tech services folks are rapidly closing that gap. And then we're also going to cycle back to reorder additional physical copies of hot book titles where demand has been high. So things like the bestseller list, the Mary Trump book, which has gotten a lot of attention, we'll go pick up extra copies of those titles. While we've removed about half of our computer stations in order to accommodate distancing, we do have folks coming back to use our computers. So for the last 2 weeks in June, over 1,500 people used a library computer and over 14,000 used our Wi-Fi. We also offered 84 virtual programs last month, and our homebound services are back. And we don't serve a lot of people, but we are the lifeline for homebound folks. And we serve 201 people. You have the June 30th financial reports in your packet. And in the fund report, which is kind of that first section that you'll see, you'll notice that the cash balance actually increased by nearly 1.5 million. Because of the COVID closure, we had staff on furlough, we weren't offering programs, we weren't paying for new materials because we weren't getting them. and we weren't doing a lot of repairs and upgrades in our branches. So business basically got put on hold for 3.5 months. And I think the cash balance is reflective of that pause. At the end of the financial information, Nancy's also included an expenditure comparison for the second quarter. Rachel, do you think you can flip that onto the screen? I didn't warn you ahead of time. So.
Yeah, you know what? I can. Do you want me to share my screen or
Why don't you
the
just
file?
share your screen?
Okay.
Yeah, and then they can see it.
Okay, give me just a minute. I had it up here and then it went away.
That's page 36, by the way, if you've got that.
Yeah, if you're following along.
Yeah, it's on page 36.
It's also tabbed bookmark, so you should be able to get right through it. I just wanted to, rather than, it's just a nice homegrown little spreadsheet of what things look like. So as Rachel works to get it up there, spending in the wages and salaries category is down by $346,000 compared to 2019. A lot of that is due to direct wages, but we also underspent on FICA and PERF and our health insurance. And we think health insurance, because elective visits and procedures were put on hold, we think that accounts for some of the insurance savings. We may see that even out by the end of the year. It's hard to know. In the 300 accounts, don't worry if you can't get it, Rachel.
All right, I think I have it now.
All right. In the 300 accounts in the services lines, you're going to see that we did outspend 2019, and that was primarily due to a few categories. There, she's got it. And now I need to get out of a full screen so I can, okay. In line 319, which is ebook licensing, you're going to see that we outspent 2019 by $243,000. That was as we pivoted to digital purchases. So as people requested things, we bought for the requests that we were getting. So instead of physical materials, you're going to see the ramp up to ebook purchases. In line 361, which is building and structures repair, that's up due to the asbestos removal in the main library and some of the renovation that we were doing in the lower level to get the staff ready to come back. So that one is up when we spent that out of operating instead of the construction fund. Line 371, rental of real estate, is up because we're renting Keller Park, and so we have that going on. And then if you move down to the 400 lines, furniture and equipment is up because we covered a lot of new furnishings in some of the branches. As things were wearing out, some of our upholstered pieces were wearing out. In some of the 10-year-old branches, we replaced and reupholstered some of those pieces. And we also ordered additional furniture as we transitioned a couple of our branches into more community gathering spaces, which now all that furniture is stored neatly away because we're not allowing seating in the branches. But that was the point of it. And also in the 400 accounts, those are capital purchases. You see the trade-off between the ebooks and the physical materials. So physical lines were down by $400,000 in the first 6 months of the year. But as we work through the backlog, we're going to at least partially catch that up. Thanks, Rachel. That was all I wanted to point out there. In just miscellaneous news, I included a copy of the storm sewer access agreement we signed with the city, just so you have a copy of that. And I just wanted to say we're processing the new executive order on masks. We have required masks since our reopening, and having the county health ordinance has really helped us with compliance. We've had some issues, but overall, you know, people have pretty well complied. But the executive order has more complications regarding exceptions, and we're going to take a look at that, make sure we're on the right track in the couple of days ahead of as this rolls out. It went into effect today, obviously, but for the most part, we're in compliance. And we're also planning to apply for some reimbursement through the CARES Act funds that are distributed through the county. Those are going to be available for PPE and cleaning supplies, and also items like hands-free faucets and soap dispensers and flush valves. And we have some of those in some of our locations, but we're going to upgrade the ones that don't have it in order to make that just a little bit safer. So I think that's what I have to tell you. If you have any questions, be happy to try and answer them.
Rachel, I noticed that there's
I have a question too.
Yeah, just wait 1 second.
Okay.
Marvin, with your question. Rachel, do you know, I see that well, Glenn just came in, but also in addition to Glenn, there's another telephone number that South Bend 360-8832. Do we know who that is?
I do not. I didn't have any patrons request the info, so I don't have it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Can we ask that person to, or maybe just identify themselves? Looks like they took it off mute. I'll let them talk. Hi, can you identify yourself? It looks like there's a call in from 360-8832. Hello, can you hear us?
Okay, okay. This is Chris Packard. That's my telephone number.
Christine, is that you? Oh, Christine.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, that's fine. No problem. All right, no problem.
Okay.
Mute that.
That's fine. Go ahead. That's all good. You can mute it then. Thanks, Christine. I understand sometimes it's easier to do the talking and the video. That's fine. Okay, very good. I'm sorry, Marvin, you had a question? Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
had a question for Deb on the mask.
Sure.
Did you, I'm not trying to ask this. Is the staff prepared to deal with crazy folks, I guess?
We
I'll put it in that.
Yes, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. I know exactly what you're asking. I think. We have a lot of discussions about this because there are only about 25% of Indiana libraries who were mandating masks up until the mask order from the governor came through. And so we've done some role playing. We've worked on it. And if somebody really has, you know, there are a number of exceptions that we have to make now for medical reasons, for other reasons, and we'll do that. I will tell you, we had one issue of non-compliance where there was a gentleman who absolutely refused to wear a mask and wanted to argue about it and did not want to leave. And for the most part, if somebody hasn't wanted to wear a mask, we've said, we will be happy to serve you in other ways. We can do curbside services. You know, you can get a digital card. We'll be happy to make it work. But we had one gentleman that we had to call the police about, and the police very nicely said, you know, this is trespass. If they tell you you have to wear a mask, then you really do have to wear a mask. And but only one. So, you know, I think for the most part, people understand the logic for masks. And for the most part, we have a lot of compliance. Probably more than, you know, big box stores would have or some other places. Libraries have not, at least we haven't had the problems.
Yeah, my concern is for the staff. I've seen some crazy things.
Yeah.
That act really dumb, and I'm concerned that the staff will get involved or have to be confrontational. So
far, except for the one instance that I told you about, and I don't think it's been too big of an issue. I can't speak for everything, but we get incident reports for all of these things, and I haven't seen them, to the best of my knowledge, and maybe that's a question for Trish. I don't think we're having a lot of pushback. We do have security officers in some of our branches, and they will handle the masks in those branches. And usually,
that's good.
Usually it's just as you come in, we'll say, you know, if you don't have a mask, we have one for you. We furnish them one. So overall, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
I do. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Other questions of Deb or comments with respect to the director's report? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Director's report. Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All right. Why don't we go ahead and just call the roll. Ann?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Christine, I think I heard you.
Yes.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The director's report is approved.
Yoga.
Yoga, okay. The next order of business is the consideration of the library bill list for today's meeting. So let me just ask, first of all, is there a motion to approve the accounts payable vouchers that are included on the register of accounts payable vouchers that was in our board packet this week? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Now, so motion made and seconded. Nancy, we've got it before us. Is there anything, welcome back, so we'll let you go ahead. Is there anything in particular you want to explain regarding the accounts?
Thank you. As Deb mentioned, we were not spending much during our shutdown on print material, but if you look at page, would be page one, numbered page 105, the first page of the bill list, you can see that there are 12 lines for Baker and Taylor for print material. So we are working through our backlog and beginning to pay bills, and I think you'll see those lines even out when we get to the third quarter comparisons. I also wanted to point out on page 3, about a third of the way down, Lee Walker Hughes Insurance. This is our renewal of our property and liability insurance for all of our locations. Sometimes we get that before June 30th. It turns out this year, we did not get the invoice in time to pay it before June 30th. And then on page 4, near the middle of the page, you can see it's paid to St. Joseph County Public Library, and it says business share account, and there's $100,000. We have our one of our bond issues invested with Teachers Credit Union. And in order to move money from the investment account to our First Source bank account, I write checks from that account, and then they're deposited in the First Source. So I thought even when I looked at that, I thought, well, why is that in there? But it's because it is one of our bank accounts, and the check was written.
Very good. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions for Nancy or comments regarding the accounts payable vouchers? If not, we've already made a motion to approve it. Why don't we go ahead and just call the roll? Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. The bill list is approved. The next order is personnel changes. We've got.
We have a gift log.
Oh, thank you, Augie. Thank you. You always catch that. Very good. Yes. So you see that we've actually got 3. We don't want to miss those. There's 3 gifts that we've received, 2 in June and 1 in July. One from $30,000 from the Hunt Family Giving Fund for the Charlotte Hunt Art Competition, then TCU for the Summer Reading Challenge sponsor. They've made a gift of $2,500, and then Masterbuilt as a $1,000 for Explore a Story sponsorship. So the total of that is $33,500. So Deb or anybody else, are there any, I just sort of read through the log, but are there any additional explanations of that? Or
I think you've been getting information about the Charlotte Hunt Prize that's going to 5 local artists for art for River Park, because Charlotte was a River Park patron for years and years, and this is her family. So this has been Lisa has been shepherding this along with the Hunt family and with the local artists, and this is just a lovely way to remember somebody. I think we're really excited about having those.
That's great. So is there a motion to approve of these three gifts?
So moved.
So motion made, then Michelle, do you want a second?
Oh, I thought I made the motion.
All right, Mark,
Second.
you want a second? It looked like you all were in concert there.
Then I'll second it. It's fine.
All right, very good. Motion made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, Ann,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Augie,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. We've accepted those gifts. Now we'll go to discuss the 4 personnel changes. Whoever wants to go ahead and just give us a report on these proposed, or these changes. And
There's just a few things this month. Last month, you may remember, we brought back a lot of people that we had on furlough. We still have 26 people outstanding that are still on furlough, and you'll be hearing from me in the next day or two about what we're thinking about for that, for those folks. But we have 3 resignations, and then you see a staff redistribution, and this is to sort of balance out some of the staffing where we have some extra people at some of our locations because of Maine, and there's a shortage at Francis Branch, so we're moving someone. You're going to see a little bit more of that too, I think, in the coming weeks.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve these human resource changes?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Then I'll call the, any questions or discussion? If not, I'll call the roll. Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Oh.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Those changes are approved. The next order of business is reports of special library committees, and I'll just note for the minutes that we had no committee meetings. They were held this past month, and so there are no reports. To my knowledge, we don't have any unfinished business to come before the board today, but before, I'll just pause for a second if anybody has anything in the way
I
of.
do have a question. I'm not sure exactly that
Okay.
it fits here, but it seems like the only time. Last month, I had asked about the bendable and the credits that are available or should be available, and how do we find out who accepts those credits? I've never heard anymore. Is anybody still looking at that?
Yeah.
I think that's a Jenny question. She's going to weigh in.
Yeah, actually, that is, we're still following up on that one. We're working on, right now it's more teachers in elementary, middle, and high school. But part of the high school resource guides that we're creating will address that to be able to steer both teachers and young people in that direction. So it's part of like the bigger resource guide that's being created for those people. But I will, by next time, and if not before, I'll send you an email and let you know.
Okay, and again, it's not just for me. I think anybody taking the classes wants the opportunity to get the credit. I think I would. I'm taking one now and they're good, by the way.
Oh, wonderful.
By the way, the marketing on that, I'm not sure if we're paying for that or if they're paying for that or if some of that's public service, but I mean, I see it numerous times, you know, throughout the week. I've seen the commercial on one or more different television channels. So it's great that we're getting the word out. So well done. Okay, anything else on Bendable right now, or anything else under unfinished business that people want to bring up now here? If not, we can move into new business. And the first item of new business is our estimate of revenues for 2021. I think this is the beginning of the budget process. And so under tab 9A, we've got some spreadsheets there. And Nancy, are you going to do this, or Deb, or somebody else?
I think Nancy probably will do this, and I'll kick it off just to say that most years we give you the whole budget in July, and we give you a plan of service in July. This year, because it's so different, And because COVID has just sort of consumed, COVID and the main library project, let me say that, have kind of consumed our waking days. We're not prepared yet to figure out what we want to say about next year's plan of service. I will tell you, we're going to put the strategic planning process on hold. We have permission from the state of Indiana to, our plan goes through 2020. And so they've said, you know, as long as you have something by end of 2021, you're fine, you're in compliance. And in a lot of ways, we're still working that plan because a big centerpiece of it was the main library project, and that still has a year plus to go. But at least this gives you a first look at where we think we're going to be in terms of estimate of revenue, although, and this is nothing against Nancy as she gets ready to talk to you about it, but we really don't know. We're doing this as we normally would, but we know there will be some shortfalls from local income taxes. It's just going to be just kind of an odd thing to plan for 2021. So with that said, Nancy.
Yes, it really does feel like we're you know, kind of reaching through murkiness. On page 1 and 2 give you quite a bit of history of what our assessed value, our increase in assessed value, and property tax income has been. If I would ask that you focus on maybe the 2019 line, which is just near the bottom of that square. You can see that our current assessed value is $5,305,000. No, let me do that again. I always get that wrong. $5,305,388,214. This was a 16.3% increase over the previous year, 2018 payable and 19's assessed value. I've always been fairly conservative. I think last year I only projected a 4% increase, even though the previous year there was a 13.2% increase. This year I'm showing a 10% increase in the assessed value, which would project that we would get $15,937,842 in property taxes. That is before any circuit breaker or non-payment of taxes is taken out of that levy. And it also shows, you can then see that the projected tax rate would be 27.31 cents. That always changes. We always advertise high. We use a low assessed value to get a high tax rate. You can always reduce your tax rate, but you can't increase it as we move forward. So then the second page is a history of receipts and expenditures. This doesn't go back nearly as far as the previous page. And I've done a couple of things that, you know, I apologize. I'm still getting back into the swing of things as well. In the estimated 2020 line, I show property taxes, which is the third line, at $10,833,680. That has the projected circuit breaker removed from it. For the next year, 2021, I've put the $15,937,842, the total property tax levy, and did not subtract any circuit breaker from it, because I think we really don't know what the full impact of circuit breaker will be for this year. So that's giving you best case scenario. When Deb talked about local income tax. Just about one line above that first line, our distribution for next year is projected to be $1,800,063.369. That and the excise and CVIT are numbers that I have received from DLGF. So the circuit breaker is probably about the only unknown in that portion. On this page, we always project spending well, no, that's the other page. I'm not projecting spending the entire budget because I expect the budget to be over 20 million, but I do know that we're going to spend more out of the operating budget on the building project because we have capital projects funds that have been sitting in the general fund waiting to help fund that project. Then the final page is kind of our basic estimate of revenue. We began 2020 with a balance of $16,085,857. Sorry, I should look at my print copy. I can read that a little bit better. You can see the income that we've taken in, which was sorely affected by our closure and our moratorium on collecting some fees. And the disbursements for the first 6 months were $6,431,455, leaving us with a cash balance of $17,646,000. As Deb said, the cash balance increased, and that was mostly because we did not spend as we anticipated this year. And then the second half of this page is strictly projections on where we think we'll be at the end of 2020. This is the line where on total expenditures, we do show the entire budget being spent. Now, we don't normally do that, so I would say that this $10,559,515 will increase probably by $2,000 or $3,000. And this is just to give you an idea of where we think we're going. My next effort will be to get a projected operating budget and let you look at that and in August, and perhaps have most of the budget forms done by the August meeting so that they'll be informed to be let's see, to have a public hearing in September and an approval at the October board meeting.
Okay. Just before I turn it over for other questions, on that page it says history of receipts and expenditures, the multiple columns. In the estimate for 2020, did you, that column, when it came to that second set of columns, the fines and the cluster fees and rental income, et cetera, the receipts, did you make any adjustments in there based upon what we saw the first? So have we actually taken into consideration any of the actual, if you will, for the first?
No, I didn't. I usually don't make any changes to this is what we estimated last year at budget time. I don't make the changes until we have actual numbers.
Okay, just curious. All right, no problem. So are there any other questions for Nancy or Deb or anybody else on staff regarding the estimated revenues for 2021? appearing to be none. Do we, Nancy, Deb, do we need to approve this, or is this purely informational right now?
This is just information. There's no action required at this point in time. At the next meeting, when we actually show you budget numbers, we'll ask you to approve the notice to taxpayers, but that'll be August.
Okay. So if there's no other questions or comments, then Nancy, thank you so much for taking us through that. And maybe we're ready to go into 9B, change orders for the main library project. And you'll notice that that's really the bulk of the materials that were sent out, I think beginning on page 54 and going for another good 60 pages or so, is materials regarding proposed change orders, or change orders actually that I think have actually gone into effect, but we need to ratify them. So there's 5 of those, and my suggestion will be, since there's 5 of them, that maybe what we do, I know sometimes we've gone through and we've heard a report for all of them, and then we've gone back and we've approved them. I'm going to suggest instead, unless anybody objects, that we go ahead and we just, maybe we'll go through and we'll have, we've got lots of different folks here, consultants. Maybe we'll have, we'll just take them in order, and we'll start with the drywall contractor and kind of go through these, and you all can explain the change orders, and we'll see if there's any questions regarding those. And if there's not, we'll go ahead and approve each one by one. That's my suggestion, unless anybody objects. And then Deb, I'll turn it over to you to turn it over to whomever here should.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to lead the charge here. I'm going to try and share my screen, which just has the cover sheet on it, and we'll see what happens.
So the first thing is the drywall. Do one of you all want to? I don't know if it's the folks from Arcos or Anthony?
Yeah, is it Jeff, Rentonia, or Glenn? And are you seeing seeing that screen? Okay, great.
Yeah. So the one that we have for golf is one change order for the amount of a credit for $4,724. This one is a door wall removal on the lower level. It was a part of a PR number 10. It was for RFI number 19. The storage room was not needed in the lower storage room level.
So we've had a number, this kind of follows through several of these. I think there's a storage room that I guess had the lower level that is not going to be built because of that. I think you mentioned that, Deb, I think maybe a month or two ago, one of our meetings. So this is going to kind of filter through. So does that pronounce golf? Is that how you pronounce that?
It is golf.
Golf, yes.
Okay, great. So are there any questions regarding the proposed change orders for the drywall contractor golf regarding the deletion of this door? If not, and by the way, all those materials, I think it begins on page 54 and goes to 63. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, motion made and second. Let me go ahead and just call the roll on the approval of this change order for golf. Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. So that change order is approved. Next is a proposed change order for Herman and Getz, the electrical contractor. Anthony, you want to?
For Herman and Getz, we have 5 different change events that have us with the total of a credit of $150,771. The first one is the light fixture VE, value engineering. So they went for the light fixture package, and determine a couple of items that we can save cost on. And that total savings was $197,250. We had electrical floor box revisions. The change for the floor boxes changed due to the furniture package. So that total cost change was $50,508. We had for information, this is regarding the lower level, removing a light fixture for $4,029. And then we had 2 allowances for $3,000 and one for $530. The ERS install on Wayne and Michigan, and then also the removal of the electrical equipment for the floor abatement, so that we can abate all of the flooring inside of the renovation space. It allows for a clean finish, and also for the abatement contractor to not come back a second time in order for them to abate those areas.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding those 5 change orders for Herman and Guest? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and motion seconded. I'll call the roll. Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Those change orders are approved. Next is Indiana Earth, the excavator site utility contractor.
So, this is a credit for $24,400, and the allowance, that is an allowance that was removed from their contract in order to allow for the ERS to be furnished and installed. And then we had a total add of $600 to remove the trees in this area.
Okay. Are there, and I think Jim, kind of indicated to us that there might be some money coming back on that. So I think that was, yeah. So is there, are there any questions regarding those 2 change orders? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Let me go ahead and call the roll. Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The Indiana Earth change orders are approved. Next, Larson Daniels, we've got some change orders regarding waterproofing for them, I think. Anthony, you want to?
So we have 2 change events. One is for the waterproofing. This is a scope add for waterproofing for $71,584. And then also for the lower level storage room, a credit of $1,374.
Okay.
Hey, can I jump in real quick? So just to get the background on this, there was a bid package for this. We had gone through, we received no bidders on the bid package. And so what we were able to do is get competitive numbers from other contractors so that we had, in this case, we had 4 bids that we could compare to. So that's why you're seeing a ad. It's not misscope, it's a reallocation of a bid package that's going to them.
Thanks, Glenn. I was just going to ask somebody to walk them through that because this was a package we didn't have any bids on, and so it's been added to another contractor's scope.
And you'll see one more. So this is the underground waterproofing at the footings and foundation. You're going to see another for a company called Bofo, which is a waterproofing contractor. They're going to have the air and vapor barrier, which is utilized above ground behind the masonry walls. So later on, you'll see another.
Okay. Okay. Are there any questions regarding that? Okay. If not, is there a motion to approve those change orders for Larson Daniel?
So moved.
And motion's made. Is there, so one of you made it, one of you,
I'll second it.
second it. We're going to Augie second it. Marvin made the motion. I'll call the roll. Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The Larson Daniels change orders are approved. Finally, the fifth contractor today, the mechanical contractor, Mechanical Concepts. Anthony, you want to go ahead and explain these for this?
There was some damage that occurred to some cables. We had Mechanical Concepts come out in order to repair those cables. And that cost was $4,310. The other change event that's not shown on here because as an allowance is the removal of the MEP for the floor abatement.
Regarding this change order.
It is regarding this change order as well. It's a zero cost change because we're taking it from the allowance.
Okay, great.
And just to shed a little bit of light on the allowance piece, because you saw it, I think, also on the, 1 second.
Indiana Earth.
Oh, yeah, on the Indiana Earth.
Indiana and Herman and Getz as well.
Yeah, you saw that there were allowances that were there. So the ERS was broken into two subcontracts. One was the concrete contractor and one was the excavator. So we're just recapturing some of those. With some of the MEP trades, we have a built-in allowance in their contracts for unforeseen items that we know are going to come up and that we can address, so that we have a separate area, and you'll see that's why we're pulling some of those dollars from that allowance just to kind of resolve that, so we're not drawing from the contingency all the time.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve this change order, the mechanical contractor?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that's approved. So maybe before we go on, so thank you for those changes. And maybe while we've got you all here on this, can you give us, do we have anything more to, you mentioned there were some things where we did not get bids or anything, or is everything now progressing? It sounds like you all are being creative and trying to get other contractors to come in and do things. Is there anything good, bad that we should know about? Are things sort of coming together on all fronts there? Or?
Yeah, I think we're relatively close to finalizing all the contracts. There's only a couple that are out there. Fagley Landscaping, we've done a scope review on them. That's forthcoming, but we just wanted to clarify something with them in regards to some stone. The paving, we're doing a scope review on the paving right now just to confirm that they have an internal allowance that we were expecting. But in general, I would say yes, all of the contracts are coming together. We're getting finalized with those. Knowing that we have a tough budget. One good example is the millwork contractor. So right now we're Larson Danielson was the low bidder on the millwork, and Gerald Mead is the millwork contractor who's working with them. So what we're trying to do is just generate value for the library, right? We want to make sure that we're effective with the funds, that we're spending them properly. So that's why the lighting happened. That's why the millwork is happening. So the whole team is working through different options just to make sure that we're getting the best bang for the buck with it. So the millwork is close to being finalized, but it's going through that VE portion, the ARCOS, the library, and ourselves just to make sure that we're finalizing it. But yeah, in general, it's really close, and I think we're getting almost all the contracts underway.
Okay. Very good. Do any of the board members have any questions regarding the progress while we've got the whole team here? If not, or Deb, do you have anything else on that? If not, we can go into the last order of business.
I don't think so. We're going to be following up, as Glenn mentioned. Our contingency is just about gone at this point in time, and we're trying to get some money back into the contingency with some of the value engineering things that we're doing, especially with the millwork. But I will have some information, some recommendations coming up, I think, before the next board meeting, so you can look for those. Thank you, Glenn and Antonia and Jeff, and I just lost you, Eric. Yes, I got it there. For getting to the meeting this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Great. Okay, so then the last order of new business that I've got is the resolution to declare excess withdrawn library materials, and I'll call on Christine because I know she likes to make this motion. Christine, are you? Oh, I jinxed her. Okay.
We may have just lost her.
I think we may have lost her. So is there a motion to approve the...
I'll move on Christine's behalf.
Okay.
There is some computer equipment there this time too. We haven't been declaring excess any computer equipment lately, but there's some on this one. So you have both.
So is there so there's a motion to approve, and it sounds like Christine seconded, or somebody seconded, I heard that, to approve the declaration of excess withdrawn library materials. They be sold to the Friends, excluding items selected by staff for library sales and events, as well as computer equipment being declared excess. So I think I heard a motion made and seconded. Why don't I go ahead and call the roll? Ann?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Christine? You can hear us?
Aye.
Okay, great. Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. So that concludes our new business. For other business, Deb, I know you included this letter here, but I don't know if we need that, if you were going to discuss
No,
that.
because it was written to both me and to board members, I thought you should see my response to the person. And this is something we've answered over the years. This is not necessarily a new question about why do we handle certain DVDs a certain way, but I just thought you'd like to see it.
Okay.
Since I'm responding on behalf of you all too.
No, that's fine. We appreciate it. Okay, so is there other business to come before the meeting before I see if there's any visitors that want to speak to address the board? If there's no other business, I'll go ahead and just for purposes of the minutes, I'll ask if there's any members of the public that would like to address the board, but I don't believe there are. Unless any of our guests here for the other things want to address us as visitors. If not, then I'll declare that portion of the meeting to be over. News and education items. Anything from the staff perspective, or Deb, do you have about the news and education?
I just want to mention that we're reopening the Friends book sale this Friday for the first time. And it's we have been trying to figure out how to do this because the space is tight, but we are going to limit the number of people in the building, and we'll also limit the amount of time they can spend shopping so that we can get people through the space, and we'll see how it goes. But it's opening Friday.
Okay, great. And what time is that?
We open at noon.
Noon? Okay. And again, it's at the Friends space, and
Yes.
people can just come in wearing masks like you
Yep.
would going into any other store in town.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Let me just mention our next meeting is Monday, August 24th. Deb and I had a conversation about this about a week or two ago, just ourselves. And I assume that to the extent that the most recent thing we had seen, I think, was that we were not going to be able to do. I don't know if we haven't seen anything different from. I think there's the ability to do Zoom meetings under the current governor's executive orders. I think expires either at the end of this month or maybe a couple of days into August.
Yeah, he's been extending it though, so we'll just I think we'll just see how it goes.
To Deb, unless you all disagree, to the extent that if we are, I assume that the preferences would continue to be that if we can do Zoom, is it still everybody's preference to do, or is it still the preference of most of you to do Zoom if we can do Zoom in August?
That way.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so I see at least 3 that said if we can.
Sure.
So that's fine. So then if we're able to, we will do that. If we're not able to do it, then we'll communicate to everybody, and we'll certainly do things. If we need to meet in person, it'll be in a very socially distant way, because Deb and I have talked about it. That's one nice thing about Keller Park, is that we do have a lot of, a fairly big space there, and that, that we could spread out if we need to. But if we can do it this way, we'll do it this way in August as well. All right. So is there anything else to come before the meeting today? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Call the roll again, we have to call the roll for everything. Ann?
Aye.
And Terry?
Aye.
Christine? Yeah. You gave us a thumbs up. Augie?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Just stay safe.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Stay well.
You too.